Episode 3 of Under Salt Marsh starts with DCI Eric Bull heading to the landfill. The police are in the process of testing the place for sodium hydroxide. They're also going to scour the entirety of the landfill in the hopes that it brings up some sort of evidence to help track down the real killer. Now while this is going on, Eric Bull heads to the school where Jackie is still shook up over what's going on. Given they found a hair on Kevin's body, Eric explains that they need to interview James Reese, officially this time not down on the beach. He wants Jackie to be there too, knowing how invaluable she is to helping people open up. After taking some of James's DNA, Eric does his best with the kid, but it's Jackie who ultimately helps loosen his lips. It's here James eventually admits that he and Kevin were at Solomon's farm after school that day, as Kevin was determined to face his fears. You see, Kevin was having nightmares over the Black Sow, which is a Welsh folklore legend surrounding a demonic, supernatural creature. Its colloquial name is the Black Pig of Halloween. Now Eric Bull shows up at the farm, where Solomon immediately confronts a detective and plays hardball. He refuses to open up, which only throws more alarm bells into the case. Bull also notices that everybody at the farm are wearing gloves, so this could easily match up to the pathology report regarding the fingernails. Now the main player they want to talk to here is August Antonov, the Romanian farmhand briefly mentioned last episode. Now Bull speaks to August, showing him Kevin's picture, but the guy keeps saying no English. He can clearly understand what Bull's saying though, so Bull threatens to make things difficult if Antonov is not careful. Meanwhile, Jess speaks to his cousin, Nikov, and he explains that August is difficult. He complains, is ungrateful about his job, and it seems like he might have come into some extra money, given he sent a whole chunk of it back home. Jackie speaks to Eddie, Kathy, and some of the other kids here, who finally reveal where they were the day of Nessa's disappearance. Apparently they were all playing on an old tractor near the quarry. The kids used to bully Nessa, cruelly forcing her to do things she didn't want for kicks. They also threatened Nessa to stay quiet about everything or they'd hurt her. Now on the way back, Jackie believes she might be wrong about the white suit. Perhaps it was someone in a hazmat suit at the landfill rather than a beekeeper. Now that night, Morgan rings Bull, worried as someone has broken into his house. Now Morgan catches him looking over some documents, and when Bull arrives, he chases the culprit as they flee. The only thing Bull manages to grab though is a boot. Then in the aftermath of this, Bull chalks this whole attack up to the townsfolk turning on Morgan, believing he may have something to do with Kevin's death. Bull knows it's not safe, so he brings Morgan over to the pub and demands the landlady sort him out with a room. Now Jackie shows at the pub not long after, and Bull guesses that she's pregnant. She keeps her cards close to her chest and Jackie refuses to divulge exactly who the father is. However, Bull thinks she should tell him, given nobody else in town knows right now, before it's too late. And that night, Bull and Morgan then sleep together before the former is called out to the landfill late that night. It turns out they found something. As Eric heads down, he realizes they've discovered Nessa's body. Jackie is absolutely crushed when she finds out, and Bull explains that he's even told Lydia too. And Nessa has been buried there for 3 years, and it's a tough pill for everybody to swallow. Now Morgan shows up to see Bull the next day and reveals they haven't found sodium hydroxide at the landfill. This means Kevin was drowned somewhere other than the quarry. Jess also deduces here that August is being paid to keep quiet, explaining the extra money that he has. Now Eric Bull realizes they need to treat both cases as one, and he also gets word back from the lab too. The hair found on Kevin happens to belong to none other than Dylan Reese, which isn't going to help his relations with Jackie given how close she is to him. Before they proceed with anything though, Solomon suddenly shows up that night, claiming that he has something to confess. Episode 4 of Under Salt Marsh begins with Solomon arriving to see Jess and Bull. Now 3 years ago, he was informed rubbish was being dumped on his land. It was a huge amount of waste being backfilled into the quarry. He actually found Nessa's body there too and admits she was badly burned. Now Solomon lifted her out and checked to see if she was alive, but it was too late. He put Nessa back in the waste and kept quiet about everything to protect his family and the farmland. The fact he wrapped her in tarpaulin beforehand though doesn't sit right with Bull, and he hounds the guy about Nessa's disappearance and his role to play in her death. Tellingly, Solomon doesn't divulge who told him about the waste to begin with. Could it be someone close to him, I wonder? Meanwhile, Jackie spies Jess heading over to Dylan's place and manages to sneak out before she's spotted. And she heads into town where she learns about Solomon being held for questioning. A lot of heat is on the farm now, and the Bevan family are coming under fire as a result. Now Bull tries to defuse the situation when Jackie shows, hot-headed and demanding answers. He takes Jackie away while Jess checks out the files and sees why Jackie was reprimanded from the investigation in the first place. Now Jackie's gross negligence has been captured on camera, with body cam footage showing her lashing out at Bull and striking him after he used information she shared with him to arrest Lydia. Now we also learn here that the gloves from out on the farm don't match any of the fibres found under Kevin's fingernails. As for Nessa, she was severely burned before death, but that's not how she actually died. Now the autopsy has discovered soil and plastic particles in her lungs, along with bruising at the back of her neck. And Nessa was suffocated and died viciously. Even more tellingly though, it seems we have the same MO for both deaths. Whoever killed Nessa also took out Kevin too. Now Bull eventually lets Jackie read the file, but predictably it's a lot for her to handle. Jackie is more convinced than ever that the killer is someone inside the village and wants to try and get answers herself. The attention obviously turns to the Bevan farm workers first, and thanks to the boot Bull grabbed from the assailant outside Morgan's house, he also knows Alfie and the other kids are responsible for breaking into Morgan's place. And Ned eventually speaks up here, explaining that he contracted out the fields, but he shut the whole waste dumping down a few years ago. Apparently he wasn't dealing with it day to day, which means someone else could well have known about Nessa and stopped the dumping as a result. Now Bull is pissed and running low on patience. He heads back over to see Solomon, believing he, or at least one of the Bevan family, could well be the suspect. He's obviously emotionally involved here, and Jess is shocked to hear Bill badger Solomon so harshly and even shout for him to leave too. Jackie shows up to see Lydia while this is going on, but she's not exactly enthused to see her sister. It brings up old memories and causes her to break down crying. Unlike the others, Jackie is still living in the past and can't look past Nessa's death. Her being there, stirring up old feelings and questioning the case, is not what the family need right now, and she's eventually forced out. Now that night things take a turn for the worst when Bull learns that Dylan's DNA matches the hair on Kevin. Now Morgan shows up and explains that there's an extreme weather warning and they need to evacuate the village. Now Bull is a maelstrom of emotion, no pun intended, and tries to force himself on Morgan too. He pushes the guy away and hurriedly collects up his stuff. Now in the morning, knowing that he needs to move quickly, Bull speaks to Dylan at his place. It's here where Bull learns that Dylan and Jackie are seeing each other, and at the time she can corroborate his story given he has an alibi for the time Kevin died. He was kissing Jackie over at the beach huts. They've also been dating for about a year now, which explains why Jackie has been loath to tell him about the pregnancy. Now Bull is hesitant to follow up on Dylan, given he doesn't want to bring Jackie's compromised position into this, while Jess wants to explore their solid lead. There's also August Antonov too, who has been sending cash back to Romania, sending deposits in cash for more than a year. Jess wants to bring them both in, so she shows to see August and confronts him about the money. Given her own cultural upbringing in China, this helps to get through to him. She thinks he's being blackmailed and wants the truth. While August doesn't say he's being blackmailed, he does eventually admit that there's more waste coming into the village, but he doesn't know exactly where. Now a truck usually comes in low tide every Thursday, and she's encouraged to go up to the causeway to take a look. Down at the causeway, Jess and Bull reconvene as they wait for the inbound truck when the tide is low. When Bull finds out that Jackie was at the farm earlier in the day, asking Solomon questions, he heads over to see her. Jackie is a mess, and Bull comforts her when he sees her dig up all the old case files for Nessa. He realises what a state she is and tries to help, given she winds up cut from some broken glass in her foot. Down at the causeway, the villagers realise the tide isn't getting lower and the storm threat is very credible. They're completely cut off and nobody is coming in and out of the village. The storm will be there imminently and they need to find August before it's too late. Jackie joins Bull, but that night there's another death. It's August Antonov. He's found face down in the rising rainwater, and it becomes clear that someone is trying to keep things quiet. So the plot thickens, and with more of the puzzle pieces starting to come together, it's clear that whoever is behind these killings, they're very close to the case. I mean, how else would anybody know that August has spoken to the cops? Surely someone saw Jess and Bull down by the causeway, and they went after August to keep him quiet. Beyond that though, Jackie is just sort of here in this show, she spends most of the episode wandering around aimlessly, feeling sorry for herself. Her initial steely facade of getting people to open up in this investigation hasn't really worked out that way, and I'd argue Jess is getting more done than she is at this point. The show has been a slow and rather methodical crime drama, and it's not helped by the fact that these episodes haven't really revealed very much, hence why I've doubled them up for YouTube. This chapter definitely didn't need to be nearly 50 minutes long. There's just not enough content to justify that much airtime, but we're getting closer to the end of this one now, so this could just be a middle lull before things pick up properly. And the drama involving Bull is starting to see him tip into uncomfortable territory too. He clearly doesn't want to arrest Dylan and be wrong again like he was with Lydia. It sets up an interesting internal dilemma for him, especially as he's definitely crossing boundaries, especially with Morgan. But August F sets up everything for what should be a dramatic few episodes to close this season out with. Now, who is the killer? Who's really behind all this? Hopefully we'll get some answers in the episodes ahead. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.